Silently they claimed to trust in God. These same whispers were heard as President James Polk stole the West Coast lands from Mexico. Democracy must prevail, as they stated in the overthrow of the government of Haiti and then occupied it for 19 years. Fears are heard by all Cubans as Batista is placed in power, but only to be overthrown by the U.S.-supported infamous revolutionary called Fidel Castro. Yes, they did put him in power. In God they trust, as Jacobo Arbenz is killed in Guatemala and Salvador Allende is murdered in Chile in order for Augusto Pinochet to become the newly appointed president by this North American government. In God they trust, I say, in God they trust with my flag in their hand and see that the Mujahideen and Osama bin Laden are armed and trained to fight the Russians and keep power in Afghanistan in the 80s. Their weapons is what they used against us. In God they trust to only help them hide the fact that Saddam Hussein's Ba'ath Party killed his uncle, President Abdul Qasim, and take control in Iraq. But at the same time, they trust that God will hide these things and support the dictatorships of Pol Pot in Cambodia, Jonas Savimbi in Angola, and fervently train the Bolivian army to hunt down and kill the infamous revolutionary that we all call Che Guevara. In God they trust, I say this out loud, never forgetting how they supported the racist South African apartheid government that killed Steve Biko and imprisoned Nelson Mandela for over 27 years. In God they trust to help them iron out their conscience for putting Joseph Mobutu in power in the Congo as they orchestrated the assassination of Patrice Lumumba. In God they trust to help them the truth behind the assistance of the Portuguese government in the killing of Cape Verde's Amilcar Cabral. In God they trust that they would never find out that these brothers killed Malcolm X. But we know the truth. And then they killed Dr. King and turned around and commemorated him. Or how this nation strongly trusts in God and how it would help them erase the truth behind the murders that they have committed that no one speaks about or no one reads about, because they say that it's in the books. Filiberto Ojeda Rios in Puerto Rico, Walter Rodney in Guyana, how they exposed Dr. Pedro Albizu Campos to radiation in their prisons. They may try to wash away the blood off their hands, but God has made us aware of their actions. So read a book before you ask them, and what God do they trust in?
Amen.